Hey guys, and welcome back to the Legacy Boss podcast. We're super glad you're here. I'm your host, Shauna Klein.
I'm Marcy K. So glad to be here today. Oh my gosh, that rhymed. That was a little funny.
He is rhyming it out today. We are here to talk about growth in stages.
Yes.
So it's a big thing, that this growth thing, like everyone wants to get big super fast.
Yes. Everybody wants to get big super fast, including me, right? Like
Both of us.
that's okay to have those dreams out and ahead of you and want to get there like lightning speed. That's okay. However, it's not always the best path, right?
No, I think that it is a path that's less traveled because once you kind of hit against a roadblock, it really shows who has the grit. I actually sent out a Facebook message today to my people saying that grit is the number one thing. It's not IQ and it's not your SAT scores. It is grit that gets you from point A to point B in life. And so we are going to talk about growth in stages. So we're talking today about getting ahead of ourselves in growth. So Marcy, we've talked about this a lot because you and I, both in product boss businesses, have experienced the setback of not wanting to grow or wanting to grow faster than we are growing, but yet not wanting to lose hold of the reins. And it, like, you know, the old Westerns where the horses just take off and you're like hanging on for dear life. And you're like,
oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So we're going to break this down today.
Okay. And yeah, that's a really good visual. I'm all about visuals. I guess that's just how my brain works. But for sure, because it's kind of like you don't want to go faster than you can run or you can keep up or you have the capability of doing, right? It's like we all go, okay, I just started, let's say, like a handcrafted earring business, right? So you're making these earrings, which take time, right? And you love putting your heart and soul into them. You love how beautiful you can make them. Well, then all of a sudden, if you got a 200 order, you'd be like, yeah, okay. And it's due in 3 days. Right? While the money might look good, how beautiful are your earrings going to be? How happy and proud are you going to be about packaging those? You're probably slapping them together so fast. And then now what's your quality control like? How is that new customer that you thought this was such a blessing? They're going to go, okay, these don't look like her earrings on Instagram. Like, this quality isn't good. Now you have a bad review. Like, no, nobody wants that type of a path. So you don't want to wish for something that you really can't handle at the moment.
And it's so true, because in the handmade business, as well as products, I'm gonna throw this both out, because you and I have both experienced, right, handmade items that don't meet the expectation because they growing too fast. We just can't. We can't do it. I've been in situations before where the expectation is to pump it through and you're excited about the big order, and then, oh my gosh, like trying to get it. And then I've been on the other side of sourcing something. You and I have talked about this recently about getting something and then it not getting there in time. Like, we've promised something.
Oh my gosh.
We just talked about this.
Oh my gosh, this happened in my boxes. And it was like, you know, the snow came and nobody could get on the road. And one of the key products in my BYO Boss Life box didn't come. So I had to create a little insert to put inside my box, like begging forgiveness and hoping everybody would understand and apologize. And then what do I need to do? Do I have to make them wait to get their product? Do I have to ship it on its own and like lose all of that? Basically, the income that I was bringing in now goes into shipping and I'm negative. Like, how do you balance that? What do you do? And so there's a lot of pitfalls if you go really fast and you can't run, you can't catch up. You're flapping off the back of that horse, right?
Yeah, and we know there's always going to be things like,
Yeah.
like in Marcy's boxes, she has an amazing system that's created and it has fail safes in it. But there are things, right? Like we can't control when we get things from overseas. Like China has like a month-long holiday, and they don't ship anything out during that holiday. Whereas the U.S., we're always working, right? We're working around the clock, but they don't ship out anything. So if you're waiting for stuff, and that was in the boutique world, that's one of the things was crazy, is because people have this expectation versus reality, and they don't mesh, right? So we're trying to work through that all the time.
Girl, I don't know what happened.
We're still recording, so I'm just gonna.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
didn't. I didn't stop it.
you were just no, that's good. You were just talking about China and that they don't ship for 2 weeks or a month or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go back into, I'm going to go into the next on A block, wishing for something we can't handle and then understanding.
Okay.
So a lot of times we're wishing for things that we don't have yet that we can't handle, right? We're looking for things that we could have, right, at the proper growth time, but we can't handle them right now. And so it's frustrating on one end, but at the same time, it's kind of a fail safe, I think, because it helps us not grow too fast.
Yes. And I mean, that almost sounds like crazy. Like, who wants to not grow fast? Right. And so that's not what we're getting at. But what we're saying is, again, you don't want to wish for something that you cannot handle. So
Right.
while you are growing, while you are building, while you're kind of putting in those steps in place, think of some of those circumstances, like we just said, right? Like, what if this happened? What would I do? So, do you need to get to a place that you carry more inventory than just like one or two off items, where then you're going to be ready for those growths, right? Like, I really believe, and you might feel the same way, that God really doesn't give us something that we can't handle, or that
Yeah.
we don't go to him in order to be able to handle it. So if you go, okay, how am I going to handle this? And you put that work in place, then he's going to give you some more, right? He's
Yeah.
going to throw some stuff at you, so that, because you're well equipped, you're prepared. So you need to kind of look at your particular business and what that constitutes, and see, how do I handle growth, and not just go, oh, I want to, grow from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds.
Yeah. And I think it's learning how to pace ourselves for attainable growth,
Yeah.
because I think that, we go, oh, I'm going to make 7 figures a year, and we don't have any infrastructure in place in order to be able to handle. I mean, a 7 figure product business is completely different animal than maybe a 7 figure service business, or a
Yeah.
7 figure coaching business, or a 7 figure oh gosh, like an agency. Like they can
Yes.
take on more infrastructure than a self-made product-based business. So that may mean, infrastructure wise, you need to hire some people, or you
Right.
need to source out some things that are on your plate. Like, if you're doing your books and your inventory and your social media and your all of the things, like you're constantly creating and you're packaging, like, something's going to give. There's no way. There's only 24 hours in each day. We are only
Yeah.
given those 24 hours. And one thing my husband always tells me, he's like, money you can get, money you can get taken away. Everyone has the same 24 hours. There's, like, you can't
Yeah.
buy more hours in a day. Like, wouldn't that be amazing?
Oh my gosh. I would totally buy more hours.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'd spend my money on. But like, understanding quick growth can train wreck a business, and
Yeah,
it can really cause some big issues.
it
And I
can.
and I know that's, like, probably the thing that nobody wants. It's the big elephant in the room. Nobody wants
Yeah.
to talk about it.
No, because it's like, again, who wants to think that you're wishing for slow growth? Like, that sounds so bizarre or against the norm. But again, we're all about being real and authentic here, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want to grow faster than you can handle. I'm telling you, you don't want to. You need to have those systems in place. And just like what you were saying, Shauna, you can hire more people a lot quicker and easier to do some of those things when you have that more service-based business than you can when you have products. I mean, if all of a sudden you got some giant accounts, now you have to go get what? A warehouse? Think right now, where's a warehouse close to you that you can rent? And how much is it? And what's the utilities there? Never mind sourcing all the product and
Yeah.
getting the people to help you do it. I mean, it's a beast. Now, when you can slowly grow into that, like right now, and a lot of people start right in their garage or in a spare room. And then you go, okay, that's gotten too big. Now I need to maybe move down into, the basement, or wow, maybe I need to remodel my barn, or, who knows, something
Right.
where you're still maybe not putting out rent. And then you go, wow, this is still growing. I can afford to rent a space. You might start out with a small rental space before you get to the warehouse, right? Like, those
Yeah.
are baby steps. And with each one, you learn valuable tools to grow your business and keep moving it to that next level. Like, you can't go from your closet while you have all of your spare clothes and, jewelry, to a warehouse in a
Right.
day. You,
Yeah.
you would crush your business. You would destroy it.
Well, and the other thing is you're not counting the cost of what it's going to cost. So many people,
Mhm.
this is the thing that we see. So many people get in over their heads. They take out a bunch of credit.
Yeah.
They buy a bunch of stuff and then they're left with a ton of stuff. And then most places that start too fast, they don't make it even that 12 months, right? They
Yeah.
don't make it to the even first turn around in the race, right? They're not even like getting to the finish line. They're not even rounding the first corner. So it's super, super important to think through those things.
Yeah.
So we need to be consciously making the choice to have an epic. Oh, what did I? Somehow it just moved to the wrong one.
That was last week.
That was last week's.
But we still need to make a conscious effort to have an
Have
epic
an epic
life.
life. We so do. And guys, we are not editing that out because that is so authentic. But anyways, so I wanted to share with you a story about how growth can cripple a business if you let it. So during the coronavirus, we added a new product line to our existing business. We had already been doing wholesale for a while, but there was a huge outcry from multiple customers of ours that wanted to be able to source just boutique type items.
Mhm.
And it was something that fit within our branding. And we decided to just do it. And because of the coronavirus, like we started it right before the coronavirus.
Yeah.
And then the coronavirus hit, you guys, and the LA fashion district shut down and people weren't able to get things sourced from overseas. And we had already started building some relationships. And our business like took off like
Mhm.
the crazy wild horses. We
I
were like
remember your frantic calls.
hanging on, like we were those people flapping on the backs and behind the horses going, "Oh my gosh." And it went from something like our Facebook group went from like I don't know, 150 to like 2,000 people, boutiques, online sellers, like overnight. It was insane. And so then we were like trying to play catch up and we had all this inventory coming in and going out and we're constantly boxing things up and shipping and so our what we thought we were going to start slowly, not intentionally, it just ran away.
Yeah.
And then we had an accident in the summer where my daughter almost died and it kind of threw us back a little bit. And it's like we were like holding on for dear life. But one thing that we realized through the whole process is that we got real clear real quick because we got quiet. My husband and I got quiet and we said, what do we want and what do we not want?
Yeah.
Well, we realized really quickly that we didn't want a bunch of dramatic, high maintenance people in our business that didn't align with our value system. And
Yeah.
our value system was to do the right thing all the time, whether someone was looking or not. Our integrity was our
Mhm.
pillar, one of our pillars of our business. And people had decided that they were going to move us off of that pillar because they wanted a certain thing. And so we have to be really clear about if something takes us away, it can cripple our business if we let it run away, just rampant, like just takes off. And I
Yeah.
think that's so important to really make sure we're getting clear on who we're serving, but how we're doing it.
Yes. Great points. Great points. I mean, you have to have those core values, right? And I know that's something that I coach uh I like women, but I always say mom bosses just because that's kind of when you have 7 kids, a lot of the mom bosses want to talk to you. But it's like you have to have those core values. What are your core values that you are going to base your business on? And most of them will say family. And it's like, okay. So then how are you going to make sure you keep your family first when
Right.
all these other things happen?
Yeah.
And if you like you were feeling like there, I'm trying to get moved off this pillar, off that core value that was so important to you have to stick to those guns. And if that means backing off
Yeah.
and, slowing down, but you get to hold on to that value that's important to you. I promise it's the right decision, right? You know that.
Every time. And you know what? I probably made some people really uncomfortably upset when I said, you know, we're pivoting. Like we are not for everyone. We
Yes.
are for some people, but we're not for everyone. And when we did that, we lost customers. But you know what? We also gained people who wanted what we had because that we invest in relational. It's for us, it's a transaction, but it's
Yeah.
never just about the transaction. It's for us, it's something more. And for me, where do I want to put my time and my value in, and being clear on that, because a lot of times people can move you off that.
Yeah, they try, or just life does, or even just your excitement, like, oh my gosh, well, they want me to do this and that's going to get me all these orders. But stop for a second. If what somebody wants you to do or create or whatever does not align with you, you do not have to go down that path. Just
Yeah,
because you see it as a high growth, it might take you down somewhere that might hurt you or might hurt your brand or might hurt, those, again, those core values that are important to you. So
yeah.
just because it looks like growth does not mean it's always the best.
Yeah. So how can we grow at a healthy speed for your type of business? So we want to be really, really clear. Every product based business is different. And
Hmm.
Marcy talked about this earlier. A handmade product, something that you do yourself, is going to have a different growth speed than something that you can source and sell on Amazon. It's just going to. And so
Yeah.
for us to compare ourselves to something else that's not in the same realm, we're comparing two different things. They're not even
Yeah.
like, apples and oranges. We're comparing two different things because somebody's making one, investing time and resources, and someone else is just sourcing something. It's not that it's worse, it's not that it's bad. They're just two different things.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I think when you say it like that, it becomes very clear to people. And so you just, we always talk about don't compare. And I know you've heard that 1,000 times, like don't compare, don't compare. But again, when you're talking about your growth in your particular business, it's absolutely the truth
Yeah.
because everybody is different. The product based creative entrepreneurial industry is massive, and
Yeah.
then there's all these little, categories within, and they each have their own beast. They
Yeah.
each have their ups and their downs, their positives, their negatives. And when you jump into one that fits you and your soul and your purpose, then you have to kind of learn what those are and how you're going to navigate them in particular. And I mean, you can
Yeah.
even look it down as to someone on a west or an east coast is going to
Mhm.
have an easier time sourcing than someone in the Midwest, right?
Right.
So even if it's the same exact thing where you are locationally or where you are in your life, are you an empty nester or do you have a brand new baby at home?
Yeah.
That's also going
Gonna
to
be a
say,
different time. You're
yeah,
gonna have you're gonna have a
it's
different time
okay.
there.
Yeah, it's okay, right? You have to grow and build with that. So definitely someone with a brand new baby isn't want to get a grow overnight. You're going to want to wait till at least nap
Right, for sure. So
time.
we need to understand what is the perfect growth and balance. So where your business is in growth and balancing it and what type it is. So stop comparing yourself. Like, let's take the comparison thing and just like throw it away, punch it in the face. Like, let's move off of that. I love Marcy's like total punch. She like,
If
let's,
anyone's watching the YouTube version, right, they get to see
yeah,
me throat
the
punch you.
YouTube version of it. Yeah. So where are we in this? Like, let's take down the barriers that divide us. Let's take down, we work with all kinds of product based bosses, guys. I mean, we work with everyone from candle makers and soap makers to people that are creating digital products. We work with all kinds of product based people. And I think that we have to learn how to balance things per our niche, per our
Mhm.
product, per our expectation. If there's only one of you and you're doing everything, probably not going to have as much growth as someone who can afford to hire three people to help make their thing,
Right?
or
Like
someone
one
that can take over their books.
Yeah, like one of my favorite things, and if you haven't done this on either TikTok or Reels, like here's a great little idea for you. But they have where it's like, hey, I want to introduce you to my team. And
Yeah.
then here I'd be at my laptop and I'd wave, this is our content writer. And then I'd be over there boxing my boxes. This is our warehouse worker, then I'm there taking photos. This is our,
Oh,
social media manager, right? All those things. And it's always the same person. Maybe you got a different hat on, right? But it's like that's so true when you're talking about a product-based business is when you start out and even well into growth, you're
you're
doing
gonna
it
wear a
all
lot of
because
hats.
yeah, because you won't want to go, okay, I'm making a little bit of money. Let me just get a bunch of employees. Like that's probably not the greatest
Business
leap yet.
strategy.
You know, you want to keep some of that income and decide what you really want to partial out. But it's really those things. Like there's so much to that, and each niche is very different.
Yeah, for sure. And we have to have realistic expectations of growth, people. Like,
Yeah.
come on. Like, if someone tells you in 90 days you're going to make six figures,
Oh my gosh, run, run
Marcy
from that.
always says the same thing. She's like, run. Now, is it possible for somebody? Maybe. But is it normal? No.
No,
It,
not a
it's un,
fraction.
it's unrealistic because I want to clue you guys in on something. Just because someone says that they made six figures doesn't mean they made six figures in profit. So
Yeah,
let's be realistic. When you run through someone that says, "Hey, follow me. I'm doing great. I'm running, seven figures, eight figures." Okay, but what is their costs? What is their cost of doing business? What is their profit and loss statement say? So let's take the shame off that we're not where other people are and be realistic. Marcy and I just had this conversation. Like, let's be realistic about our growth. Let's be realistic about our personal business growth. Let's
hmm
be realistic about what's coming in and what's going out and not shame things on ourselves, not put that on us when we're not meeting the expectation of somebody else. So
yeah,
important. So
it is.
important because we got to have what we can handle versus what's out there.
Yeah. And again, your stage of your business, your stage of your life, your place that you live, like so many boxes will to check that
Yeah,
all will have a different outcome. And that's okay.
yeah, it
Like
is.
we really have to just step onto our path, step onto our purpose, realize that you are always going to have enough light for the next step. You might not see the whole path of where you're going or how fast you're going to get where you know you're going to end up, right?
Yeah,
But there's always enough light for that very next step. So as long as you're just moving forward
keep
and
moving.
planning, right? Planning ahead, planning for those ups and downs because you know they're going to come. So if you
Yeah,
can do any of that, then if you do get a great order, you're not going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? You're going to be so excited because you have that extra inventory. You have the ability to source it. You have the ability to grow your business. You have that time. But you don't want to get so far ahead of yourself that then you're disappointed, you think you're failing, all of those self-doubts or those, negative self-talks that popping into your head. Like you
yeah.
don't want to get to that place.
And let's be realistic about your ability to scale and grow.
Yeah.
If you don't have the ability to do that at the moment, then don't accept orders that are taking you out of your ability. Like
Yeah.
if you're a soap or candle maker and somebody wants 500 candles this week, I mean, unless you got places to put your kids and you you've got a live-in nanny for a week. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like there are
Yeah.
going to be things. And here's the other thing is that right now in the world we live in where it's taking exponentially longer to get us stuff, do we know that we can source those things? We just committed to something and then you go and an ingredient in your product is all sold out. What do you do? So
Yeah.
setting expectations is so important. So if it's going to take you 2 weeks to make those things, then you need to be realistic. Well, I have to order those things, special order those things for you because I don't have them in stock. And then it's going to take 2 weeks to actually make that. And so we're looking at about a 3 to 4 week turnaround. Is that going to work with what you need? And
Yes.
don't be afraid to set your expectations because they're going to respect that more than
Yep.
when you can't meet it and then it's chaos.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so set expectations correctly. And I can tell you
Mhm.
that from pain points when I was early on in growth, always under promise and
Yeah.
over deliver. So
Yes. That should be part of your mantra for sure.
it is. So growth takes work, it takes focus, it takes time. Guys, you guys have the ability to grow at a level that you are at right now. And don't let anyone tell you that it is not the right amount of growth or right time.
Mhm.
Listen to your inner self, listen to your heart. Know that moving forward is where you want to be. And those things will come if you stay consistent and you show up and you're realistic.
Yes. Preach.
I don't know about preach, but I've
No,
learned.
but it's that simple. That simple sentence you just said really is everything. Like it really is.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and and just know that the baby steps, keep moving forward, just keep swimming. I mean, I could pull these out all day. Like
We
all
know.
these quotes about keeping moving. Let's move the chains. One yard
Yeah.
at a time. Like, let's just do the thing. In football, both Marcy and I are big football fans, and this thing is super important. We'll give you a visual. But most of the time, it's not those Hail Marys that get caught and run into the end zone. It is moving the chains a yard, a foot at a time. It's the
Mhm.
constant forward motion and running that ball and getting those 7 yards and doing the things that they need to do that moves them forward. And it's the same thing in
Yeah.
our business.
Yeah. Over and over and over and over again. It really is about those little mundane decisions, those little mundane things that you have to make every day over and over again that you think don't matter in the moment because
Yeah.
they're so small. But over time, done consistently and persistently, that's where you get your growth. It
Yeah.
isn't the quantum leap. It isn't the giant, Hail Mary once in a while,
Yeah.
but rarely, right?
Yeah.
There's only so many lottery winners that can
Right.
somehow all of a sudden become millionaires. Everybody else has to really do it one step at a time.
Yeah. And we know you guys got this. And so we are here to support you. So if you have not had a chance to get inside of the Product Based Entrepreneurs Facebook group, head on over there. We'd love to talk to you guys inside. And as always, you can go over to our website. I'm putting up random slides again, to our website, www. Legacy-boss.com, where you can find all of our resources and our brand new social creative that we just launched. And we will see you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye, guys.
Bye.